Welcome everyone to the default scene. My name is Jacob and today we're going to be going over how to easily stabilize footage in Blender. So let's get started. First thing that we're going to do is open up a Blender VFX Workspace. Go ahead and arrange the windows however you like. Personally, I don't use these top two windows, so I always close them. Next, head over to the render settings and under the very bottom color management drop-down menu, change the view transform from filmic to standard. Otherwise, your footage will look washed out. Next, let's go ahead and drag and drop our footage into our movie clip editor and go ahead and click Set Scene Frames in order to set the amount of frames in your scene. Go ahead and scroll through your footage and see how bumpy and shaky it is. I purposely took this footage using a 50-meter focal length, a very wide aperture, and no in-camera stabilization to make it as difficult as possible to stabilize. Next, let's go ahead and Control left mouse button click in our footage in order to add in a tracker. Go ahead and place the tracker. Use your G, S, and R keys in order to rotate, scale, and translate the tracker. If you want to see what the tracker sees, head over to the Tracker tab. I've chosen the Blender logo on the screen because it is in a high contrast area. Next, go ahead and track your footage forward. Make sure that your tracker does not move from your tracked object. Now head up to the display menu and from the display menu click Show Stable. Finally, let's head over into the Stabilization tab and turn on 2D Stabilize. With our tracker selected, let's go ahead and hit the plus key to add our tracker into the stabilization menu. Now, if you scrub through your footage, you can see that the tracker is helping us to stabilize. But because the tracker is moving our footage, we are getting a lot of empty space. To fix this, go to the middle of the stabilization menu and change our scale. Personally, I find changing the scale to 1.2 or 1.3 to start with to be the most helpful. The goal with stabilizing footage is to scale it just enough that you cover the entire frame, but not so much that your footage becomes pixelated. The best way to stabilize is to scale up a certain amount. For this footage, I've gone ahead and chosen 1.3. Next, I'll use the X and Y coordinates to make sure that my footage does not exit the bounds of my frame. You can always continue to increase the size of your footage if you're having trouble. And if you want to, you can key these values so that you counteract what the stabilizing tracker is doing. But I would recommend against this. Okay, now that we're happy with our stabilization, let's head over into the compositor. Go ahead and delete the render layers node and add in a movie clip node and a stabilized 2D node. From the drop-down menu, go ahead and select the name of our footage in both the movie clip node and the stabilized 2D node. Then connect the image socket from the movie clip node to the image socket of the stabilized 2D node, and then connect the output image socket from the stabilized 2D node into the input image socket of the composite node. Finally, head over to the output settings and go ahead and select a location for your footage to go and set your output file settings. For me, I'm going to use the FFmpeg encoder. I'll use an MPEG-4 container and I'll leave the quality settings at medium. Finally, render out your footage by hitting Ctrl F12 or going to Render and Render Animation. There you have it. You now have some stabilized footage without too much trouble. I hope this tutorial has been helpful for you. Stay safe out there, and I will see you next time.